A very good afternoon, everybody. Today, in this live session, semester 2 students are going to make a presentation on an introduction to George Orwell's famous novel, 1984. This novel, it is written in a spelling or in a full word like 1984, and also popularly known as 1984 also. It was supposed to be published in 1948. So the title was given 84. But somehow George Orwell was not well during writing of this novel. And so it was delayed and published in 1949. It is a kind of a warning against totalitarianism. It's a it's a dystopic world, and it is so well portrayed by George Orwell that it leaves a deep impression on readers, and his ideas also has quite popularly entered into mainstream culture, which is very rare to see that any book of literature would have been so well incorporated into the mainstream cultural discourses. The book's title and many of its concepts, like Big Brother and Thought Police, are instantly recognized and understood, often as bywords of modern social and political abuses. And most of the countries, to some extent, are being troubled by the dynamics of the politics of the day, where somebody is rising to become big brother, and then the police system is used against the people. So the book always finds a relevance in almost all the times, in contemporary times also. Orwell wrote this as a warning for Nazism and Stalinism. Is another book, Animal Farm, was a direct satire on Russia, Leninism. And this is coming out of Second World War. So Nazism, Stalinism, that is their how people, if they think differently, they can be tortured by the political system, how the propaganda works, and how it tries to control the free speech of the people. These all things are very relevant in the time of AI also. Very recently, in our previous class, we have seen an example that how the generative AI like DeepSeek coming from China tries to control the information that people should get when we ask to say something about the Chinese political leadership. It suddenly becomes silent and says that let us talk about something else rather than this. So, in our times, with the promise that was given to us by technology, that everybody will be free, freedom of speech will be given to everybody, people will be free to have their YouTube channels and upload whatever videos they want to upload. They will be free to write their blogs, and there won't be any restrictions on what they are writing on their blogs. Or social media will be a free space to express their ideas. But we see this all is turning out to be a false promise to a greater extent. And so, in this time when the promise of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom to use language over all this available platform is denied or restricted in the name of either Sanskriti or social decency, or any other way, if they try to thwart it or stop it, then 1984 becomes a necessary read. And 1984 can help us understand why and how all these things are operated in a society. So let us have an introduction to this very interesting novel by a group of students. So I invite now the students to come one by one and introduce us to this novel.
Hello everyone. We are here to present on George Orwell's 1984, a novel that explored the theme of totalitarianism, surveillance, and government control. Before we begin, uh, let me introduce my team. We are a group of five. I, Rutvi Pal, will start by covering the introduction, key facts, and background of the novel. And Bhumi Mahida will take us through the character, plot, and themes. And Mita Jambucha will discuss symbolism and writing style. And Bhargav Makwana will explain the role of language, technology, and surveillance in the novel. And at the end of the presentation, Rajdeep Bavaliya will conclude our presentation. Now let's begin. Imagine living in a world where your every move is watched, your words are concerned, and history itself is rewritten. This is a terrifying reality of 1984. Let's explore this novel in more details. Let's begin with some key facts about the novel. 1984, often titled as 1984, is a dystopian fiction novel that warns against extreme government controls. It is set in a future society ruled by an authoritarian regime where Big Brother watch everywhere. Uh, the author of the novel, George Orwell, and published on 8 June 1948, and genre of the novel, dystopian fiction, political fiction, and science fiction. Narration style of the novels is third person, limited, and more focused on Watson Smith. And the major themes of the novels are totalitarianism, surveillance, propaganda, loss of individuality, manipulation of truth. And even though Orwell wrote this book decades ago, his predictions are eerily similar to modern issues like internet surveillance, censorship, and fake news. If we think about how social media companies track our data or how governments sometimes control news, Orwell's warning about mass surveillance felt very real today. Moving further about the author, now let's talk about the brilliant mind behind this novel, George Orwell. His real name was Eric Arthur Blair, and he was born in 1903. He was a British writer and political thinker known for his strong opinion against totalitarianism and propaganda. Some of his most famous works include Animal Farm, Homage to Catalonia, and 1984. Orwell's life experience greatly influenced his writing. He fought in a Spanish Civil War, where he saw firsthand how governments manipulate information. He also worked at the BBC during World War II, where he witnessed how media were used to control public opinion. His observation of Nazi Germany, Stalin's Soviet Russia, and British wartime propaganda inspired him to write 1984 as a warning to the world. There is a one quote from Orwell: "If you want a picture of a future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever." This chilling warning sums up Orwell's fear of oppressive governments. Moving further, historical background. Orwell wrote 1984 right after World War II, during the rise of authoritarian regime. He was deeply concerned about how governments could gain too much power over people's lives. He based his idea on real event in history. Inspired by Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia, where propaganda, censorship, and mass surveillance were common. Written during the Cold War, when tension between the USA and USSR were high. Overall, particularly disturbed by how government could rewrite history and suppress free thought. Example, in Stalin's Soviet Union, political enemies were erased from photographs and history book, just as like in 1984, where the party constantly changed past event to fit its narrative. They show how Orwell used real world event to build his fictional dystopia. Setting of the novel. The novel takes place in Oceania, a totalitarian superstate where the party controls every aspect of life. The leader, Big Brother, may not even be real, but his image is everywhere. But the year is 1984. The place is airstrip, once formerly known as the Great Britain. It was now a province of Oceania, once of the world's superstate. And Oceania is ruled by a totalitarian government led by Big Brother. The party exercises about control over its citizens, using strict surveillance and repression to maintain power. And the government, the four ministry, the government is divided into four ministry. First one is the Ministry of Truth. It controls information, propaganda, and historical revisionism. And the Ministry of Peace deals with war affairs, ensuring perpetual conflict. And the Ministry of Law enforces law and order through the torture and repression. And the last one is Ministry of Plenty, manage economics affairs and rationing, keeping the population in control society. And newspeak, a party limits free through thought through newspeak, a controlled language designed to restrict vocabulary and eliminate rebellious idea. And the telescreens are everywhere, acting as the both communication device and surveillance tools. Citizens are constantly watched, ensuring about loyalty to the party. And the thought police are enforce ideological purity, punishing those guilt of thought crime, thinking anything against the party. No action needed. Even a rebellion thought is a crime. In this world, the party dictates reality. Truth is the rewritten. Surveillance is a constant, and even through our thought are controlled. This is the setting of 1984, a society where Big Brother is always watching. If we think that about how some governments today control the internet and social media, Orwell 1984 might be closer to reality than we think. Main character. The first one is the Whitson Smith. The protagonist, he worked at the Ministry of Truth and rewrite history. He secretly despite Big Brother and begins rebelling against the party. And, Julian, Whitson's lover, she resists the party, but only in a personal way, not politically. And O'Brien, a high-ranking party member who pretend to be a rebel but later betrays Whitson and Big Brother, the face of the party. It is unclear he truly exists or is just a figurehead. And Manuel Goldstein, the supposed leader of the Brotherhood, and underground resistance group. However, no one knows if he is real or just a creation of a party. I conclude my section with one question. Imagine living in a world where we even keeping a diary of falling in love is a crime. Whitson secretly witnessed his thoughts, knowing he could be executed for it. These show how much control the party has over people's lives. 1984 is a more just than a novel. It is a warning about the dangers of absolute power, mass surveillance, and the loss of free thoughts. This is from my side. Now I would like to invite Bhumi Mahida. So thank you, Rutvi, for providing background. Now we will discuss detailed characters. First is Winston Smith. He is the protagonist of the play, and he's a 39 years old outer party member who secretly opposes the party. He works at the Ministry of Truth, altering historical records to fit party propaganda. As Rutvi mentioned, that there is a various Ministry of Truth, Ministry of Peace, Ministry of Love, and etc. So this Winston Smith, his work at this Ministry of Truth department, and his personality is frail, intelligent, and introspective, often analyzing his own thoughts. And he realized that the party controls history and minds to maintain total power, represents the struggle between individualism and the party's oppressive control. Then second we have Julia. So the young, attractive girl, a 60 years, a 26-year-old, dark-haired woman who works in the fiction department at the Ministry of Truth. So she worked with this Winston, and she rebellious, practical, opportunistic, and fearless, but not deeply interested in politics. She also against of these parties and politics, like Winston. And she enjoying breaking rules, including engaging in forbidden relationships. So Julia is like character of she had many relationships, and she sleep with many people, and but she enjoyed. So, and she pretends to be loyal to the party by being active in the junior anti-sex league to hide her illegal actions. Then third one is O'Brien, a corrupt inner party member who represent ruthless dictatorship. This Winston is outer party member, and this one is inner party member. A prominent inner party member under extreme torture, Winston comes to worship O'Brien as his savior. And the last one is Big Brother. So Big Brother is a fictional figure created by the party. He's actually a symbolic figurehead designed to concentrate party members' loyalty. The party uses him to channel people's love and devotion towards an individual rather than an organization. So now we will discuss plot overview. The world of 1984. The world is divided into three superstates: Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia, that are in a constant war. The war is designed to keep the economic running while keeping people poor and under control. Oceania, ruled by the party, is a strict dictatorship similar to the other two superstates. Then government control. The party monitors every citizen through surveillance and punishes anyone who shows independent thought. People are arrested and weaponized if they rebel. Big Brother, the party's leader, is worshipped by all, with his face appearing everywhere. Hate realized and public executions keep people loyal to the party. So Winston is the protagonist. So starting this Winston, and we discussed earlier that he was a worker at the Department of Ministry of Truth, and then he had to have it like write a diary, because that time people can not share their ideas. With someone, they cannot easily meet to someone, and they cannot even because the fear of Big Brother, and there were the poster of Big Brother, and wrote in the poster that Big Brother is watching you. મોટા ભાઈ તમને જોઈ રહ્યા છે. So when if people want to meet someone, fear that Big Brother is watching you. And if people have to share some personal things to someone, so again they have fear Big Brother is watching you. Then this idea Winston don't like. they had these ideas. That is why he wrote the diary, personal diary, and he wrote the diary, and suddenly the knocking the door, and he saw that the one neighbor is standing there, and she told that. લાઈક કે મારા ઘરે હું વાસણ કરતી હતી તો સો પાણી ભરાઈ ગયું છે સમથિંગ some kind of things, and she told him that can you help me, so he go there. Then Winston Winston just saw her lady, this Julia, and he don't know her name. So she also works at the Department of Ministry of Truth, and this Winston look her, but he don't know her name, and he recognizes this Kala wali chokri, and then he thought that she was on she was spying on me, or maybe she's police or something, but then this dark haired girl Julia gives Winston not saying hello. Then this we have this another character O'Brien. So he also saw this girl, and he ended up same things like she was spying on me, or maybe she's a police or something. Then after 4 days, Winston passing this area, and this Julia was there. Then she just slept, and he holding her, and she gave the cheat. And later on, Winston read that on cheat she brought the I love you. Then Winston get idea that she is not police or anything, but she loves me. Then they both are meeting at the crowd, and then they but this all those things illegal on that time, so they both are meeting, and and kiss, and they both intercourse and sleeping. Then this Winston met this O'Brien. Winston meets O'Brien, and O'Brien told him that you please you come at my department. I have to work for this dictionary and something. So then Winston know that O'Brien also this against to this party, and then another on next day, Winston woke up, and he cried, and he told to Julia that એને સપનું આવ્યું હતું કે એની મમ્મીનું, અને લાઈક કે એના મમ્મી અને એની બેન એમની સાથે હતા, અને એ પણ જે આ બિગ બ્રધરની પાર્ટી જે છે એના કારણે તેમનું મૃત્યુ થયું, અને એના પપ્પાને કંઈ આપણને આપ્યું નથી. અને then he told to Julia that you please you don't stay with me, otherwise Big Brother is killing you. But Julia told that no, I'm always with you and all those things. Then they both are going to this luxurious apartment to this O'Brien, and then he provided to alcohol and all those things, and then Winston told to this O'Brien that I know that you also against this party, but and then આપણે બધાએ એકસાથે મળી અને કંઈક ક્રાંતિ કરવી જોઈએ. So then O'Brien told him that I give to the book, because જો આપણે આ બધું કરશું તો this big brother is always watching us. So I will give you the book, and એમાં બધું પ્લાનિંગ છે કેવી રીતે આપણે કરશું. And then he gave to book to this Winston, and after the 5 or 6 days Winston read the book, and And Julia was there, and suddenly knocking the door, and there is the police arrive, and the police arrive, and as torture and brainwashing, Winton and Julia are taken to the Ministry of Law, where they are tortured and brainwashed by O'Brien. In room 101, their worst fears are used against them, forcing them to betray each other. Like uh, police taking away to this Julia and Winston to in room 101 torture room, and there is police hitting they both, and when જ્યારે વિન્સ્ટન હોશમાં આવે છે ત્યારે એને મારવામાં આવે છે, પ્રશ્ન પૂછવામાં આવે છે, લાઈક ઇન્ટ્રોગેશન. તો એને પૂછે છે કે 2 + 2 = 2. So Winston answered that 4. Then they are said no, 4 no, not 4, 5. So brainwashing their mind. So then they both tortured in room 101, and the tragic ending, Winston and Julia are released separately as a broken obedient party members. Winston becomes an alcoholic, his rebellious thought erased. In the final scene, he gazes a big brother's portrait with love proving a party has won. And the end of the novel is like Winston sitting in the cafe, and then there is a poster of a big brother, and in which write that the big brother loves you. So that is how the novel end. Now we'll discuss the themes: totalitarianism and political control. Orwell presents a grim portrayal of totalitarianism rule, reflecting Stalinist Russia and Nazi Germany. The party exerts absolute control over individuals, suppressing independent thought and eliminating personal freedoms, sex, love, and loyalty. The party controls sexual relationships because it knows that repressing desire creates frustration, which can be redirected into loyalty and war enthusiasm. This is why Winston and Julia see their love as an act of rebellion before their affair. After being with Julia, Winston understands that love has the power of destroy the party. Then the dehumanization and the destruction of individuality. The party erodes emotions, relationships, and personal connections, reducing citizens to mere functionaries. Winston's final acceptance of Big Brother represents the ultimate victory of the party over personal identity. We know that everywhere is a poster hanged out of this Big Brother. Like મોટા ભાઈ તમને જોવે છે, મોટા ભાઈની નજરમાં છો તમે. Things like that. Hope, resistance, and its futility. Julia's and Winston's attempt to rebel demonstrate the human desire for freedom. Their eventual downfall suggests Orwell's pessimism regarding resistance against oppressive regimes. So this is from my side. Now I would like to call Mita Jambucha for further information.
Thank you, Bhumi, for background information. Symbolic study. Big Brother. It represents the omnipresent surveillance and control of the party. Tiny screens symbolize constant government surveillance and the supersession of privacy. The paperweight, a symbol of Winston's desire to connect with the past. Its destruction signifies the party's complete control over history. Room 101. It represents the ultimate form of psychological manipulation, where one's greatest fears are used to break the human spirit. The red arm prole woman symbolize hope and enduring power of common people, who might one day overthrow the party. Various concepts described in the novel. Orwell explores several crucial concepts in 1984. Totalitarianism. The novel portrays a government that seeks absolute control over every aspect of life, surveillance and privacy. The party watches its citizens through telescreens and informants, eliminating personal freedom. Newspeak, a language designed to limit thought and eliminate rebellious ideas. Doublethink, the ability to hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time and accept both as true. The proles, it represents the lower class who live with more freedom than party members but remain politically unaware. Style of writing. As discussed early, Orwell's written in 1984 is concise and direct, avoiding unnecessary embellishment. Bleak and dystopian, reflecting the oppressive atmosphere. Politically charged, incorrupting philosophical discussion on power, language, and history. Filled with repetition, reinforcing party slogans and propaganda. The role of author. Orwell's role as an author in 1984 is deeply tied to his personal experience and political beliefs. Warning against totalitarianism. Orwell, having witnessed the rise of fascism and Stalinism, wrote the novel as a cautionary tale about oppressive governments. Critic of propaganda. Orwell had experience in journalism and propaganda work which informed his portrayal of government manipulation. Reflection on personal views. Orwell was a democratic socialist but criticized both right-wing and left-wing authoritarian regime. Prediction of future societies. Many aspects of 1984 mass surveillance, misinformation, and censorship remain relevant today. The mutability of history. A major theme in 1984 is how those in power manipulation history to control the present. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. This party slogan emphasizes how history is rewritten in maintained power. Winston's job at Ministry of Truth. He alerts historical records to align with party narratives, erasing past contradictions. Unpersoned concept. Those who oppose the party are erased from history as if they never existed. Orwell's critique reflects real-world propaganda such as Stalinist Russia's rewritten of history or the manipulation of facts in modern politics. Thank you. This is for my side. Now I would like to invite Bhargav for further information.
So hello everyone, today I am going to deal with the dangers of surveillance. Thank you everyone for the background first of all. Then let's begin with my topic. Surveillance is a key tool for authoritarian control. In 1984, the Big Brother's constant watch ensures that individuals conform out of fear, suppressing independent thought and rebellion. Orwell's vision early mirrors modern concerns about mass surveillance and privacy violations. Telescreen and thought policy, constant surveillance ensures the obedient through fear, self-censorship, and psychological control. People alert their behavior because they feel watched. Real-world parallels. Edward Snowden and the NSA. It is a real example from the real world. In 2013, Edward Snowden, a former NSA contractor, leaked a classified document revealing the mass surveillance programs by US government. Critics argues that mass data collection violates the right to privacy and can be misused for political control, just as the party manipulates information in 1984. Orwell's warning in 1984 is more relevant than ever. The rise of digital surveillance and data tracking, and the government monitoring raising urgent questions such as where do we draw the line between security and the freedom? Are we slowly moving toward an Orwellian reality? Then there is the power of technology in 1984. Orwell's 1984 presents a dystopian world where technology is used for mass surveillance through the control and manipulation of reality, surveillance and control. Orwell's 1984 depicts a world where technology enables constant monitoring, telestrain and thought policy. Similarly, AI and social media in 2024 election track behavior, predict preferences and shape opinions, rewriting history, memory holes. So as before the Rutvi and Bhumi mentioned, there was a room called 101 there in the novel. The information is erased or alerted to suit the party's need. Psychological welfare. The party uses technology to manipulate perception and eliminate dissent. Orwell's 1984 presents a dystopian world where technology is used for mass surveillance, thought control, and manipulation of reality. The next is the purpose of newspeak. Yeah, so basically, we have already discussed that the language is the base for any literature. In the 1984, newspeak is not just a language; it's a tool to control thought. Language can be manipulated to control thought and surpass dissent, which is the essence of newspeak in 1984. Newspeak is designed to restrict thought by reducing vocabulary and simplifying language. Elimination of word is equal to elimination of rebellion. For example, if there are no words for freedom, how can one think of it? Then double think and controlled reality. Newspeak enforces mental obedience like war is peace and freedom is slavery. Modern parallels, political UP social media, censorship, and AI-driven content moderation shape public discourse today. By shaping language, the party controls thought. Orwell's warning reminds us to be critical of the words used to define our world. The role of language and act of writing. Writing in 1984 represents the resistance when Winston keeps a diary. He is not just recording thought, he is defying the party's control. First, Winston's diary, a private act of rebellion against censorship. So we have already discussed in the before that Winston keeps a diary with him where it was not allowed people to write their personal thoughts about any condition because there was always language control by the party. Second is control over history. The party erases or rewrites the fact, shaping reality. Then the third one, real world example, censorship of books, suppression of journalists, and rewriting of historical narratives. Language and writing define reality. Orwell's 1984 urges us to protect free thought from expression before they are erased. Then in introduction by Rutvi, there was the mention of four ministries, which are the Truth Ministry, which is also known as the Mini-Truth, which spreads and propaganda and rewrites the history. Then the second ministry was Ministry of Peace, also known as the Midpax, which repudiates the endless war. The third one is Love, Minilu, which work was to enforce control through the torture and fear. And the fourth one is Planetary manages economics scarcity. A dystopian government controls truth, war, law, and economy, ensuring absolute power. Orwell's warning remains relevant today. Then I would like to invite Rajdeep for the further discussion. Okay, so I am dealing with the topic that understanding 1984 and the Orwell's critique of religion. So first point, which parallels to religious institutions. So the parties' control mechanisms mirror those of organized religions, such as enforced orthodoxy and ritualistic practices. So in the novel, the party enforces a strict adherence to its ideology, which is similar to how some religious institutions demand conformity. Rituals like the 2 minutes hate resemble religious ceremonies designed to unify and control believers. Then the party is a theocratic regime. So Big Brother is portrayed as an omnipotent and omniscient leader, which is akin to a deity. So the party requires unwavering devotion and punishes dissent and suppresses individual thought, which reflects the dynamics of a theocratic government. Then confession and purification. So the party's use of forced confessions and psychological manipulation parallels religious practices of confession and penance. So in the novel, individuals are coerced into confession crimes they didn't commit, which reminiscent of certain religious practices where confession is used to control and absolve followers. Then Room 101 is a tool of indoctrination. So the terror associated with the Room 101, which ensures compliance, much like the fear of eternal damnation and in some religious doctrines. So this fear is used to manipulate and control individuals, ensuring their subservience to the party. Then secular religion of totalitarianism. So the party creates a secular religion, elevating its ideology to heretics. So Orwell illustrates how a totalitarian regimes can establish a secular religion by sanctifying their leaders and beliefs. So another point is mystical adulation and satanic enemies. So citizens are conditioned to revere Big Brother with a quasi-religious fervor and to direct their hatreds towards very perceived adversities like Emmanuel Goldstein. So this the dichotomy reinforces loyalty and justifies the party's oppressive actions. Then Next is as Bhargav mentioned in his slide that we are moving towards the Orwellian society or not. So, what is the Orwellian? So, it describes situations or ideas that undermine a free and open society as depicted in George Orwell's works. So, the term Orwell refers to scenarios which are reminiscent of those in George Orwell's novel, particularly this novel 1984, where oppressive governmental control and the erosion of personal freedoms prevail. Then totalitarian control and surveillance. So in the novel, Orwell portrays a society under a very constant surveillance by an authoritarian regime, which exemplify the extreme loss of privacy and autonomy. Then manipulation of truth and language, which in Orwell introduce concepts like newspeak and double-think to illustrate how controlling language and information can also suppress dissent and manipulate reality. Then modern relevance of Orwellian concepts, so which highlights the term's application to contemporary issues like mass surveillance and misinformation. So today, Orwellian is used to describe practices such as pervasive surveillance and the spread of disinformation, which reflects concerns about privacy and truth in modern society. Then there are very important quotes in which first is who controls the past controls the future, and who controls the present controls the past. Means who controls the present, it controls everything. So the first point in which the party's manipulation of history. So in 1984, the party employs the Ministry of Truth to alter past events and documents, creating a reality where its versions of history is unchallengeable. So this manipulation ensures that citizens' perceptions are controlled, making the party's authority seem infallible. Then reality control to double think. So citizens are trained to accept the contradictory beliefs, a process which is known as double think, allowing the party to control reality. So double think enables individuals to hold two opposing ideas simultaneously, such as accepting the altered historical facts while also knowing they were changed. Then mutability of the past. So the party asserts that the past is flexible and can be reshaped to serve its purpose. So by controlling all records and memories, the party enforces the belief that history is not fixed. And this mutability means that any event can be reinterpreted or erased, preventing dissent based on historical evidence. Then continuous alteration process. So all forms of media and documentation are regularly updated to reflect the party's current truth. Then another quote is that freedom is peace. That freedom is peace. War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. So this particular quote, which is also in the back cover of Book International, they have mentioned this quote at the back of the book cover. So what this quote means? So paradoxical party slogans. So party uses contradictory slogans to enforce double think and control over thought. So these slogans exemplify double think, compelling citizens to accept what contradictions without any question. Then perpetual war maintains peace. So the party perpetuates endless wars to channel public emotions and prevent rebellion. So this manufactured external threat fosters a sense of unity and dependence on the party of protection, thus maintaining societal order. Then enslavement through false freedom. So the party claims that true freedom leads to failure, promoting submission as the path to security. then strength in controlled ignorance. So by limiting access to information, the party prevents critical thinking and dissent. So this enforced ignorance creates a populace that is easier to govern, and as individual lack the knowledge to challenge the status quo. Then another quote is two and two make five. So this is the denial of objective reality. So the party forces acceptance of false truth to demonstrate its power over reality. So by compelling citizens to believe that 2 plus 2 is equals to 5, the party showcases its ability to dictate reality. Then psychological manipulation. So through intense psychological pressure, the party coerces the individuals into accepting false statements. So the torture and reduction are used to break individual will and enforce party's doctrine. Then symbol of totalitarian dominance. So forcing acceptance of an obvious falsehood like 2 plus 2 is equal to 5 serves as a powerful demonstration which of the party's dominance. So it signifies the suppression of individual. Then erosion of personal autonomy. So acceptance of a party's imposed falsehood leads to the loss of independent thought. So by dictating beliefs, the party eliminates personal judgment and critical thinking. Next one is God is the power. So this is the definition of the party. So the party elevates itself to a divine status, demanding absolute obedience. Then, so by positioning itself at the ultimate authority, the party replaces traditional religious and moral structures. Then O'Brien's revelation. So in these interactions, in his interactions with Winston, O'Brien reveals that the party's pursuit of power is an end in itself. So this philosophy justifies all actions taken to maintain control regardless of ethical considerations. Then suppression of traditional beliefs. So by dismantling prior belief structures, the party eliminates a competing source of authority, and the party eradicates existing religious and moral systems to monopolize influence and totalitarian control over reality. So equating power with divinity allows the party to define truth and morality. So by asserting that God is power, the party claims the right to determine what is true and what is right. So this control over fundamental concepts reinforces its unchallenged dominance in all aspects of life. Then here are some of the notable adaptations of George Orwell's novel. And first one is 1954 BBC television adaptation, which was the very first television adaptation starring Peter Cushing as Winston Smith. Then 1956 film adaptation. So this adaptation directed by Michael Anderson was the first feature-length portrayal of Orwell's novel, where Edmund O'Brien played Winston Smith. Then 1984 film adaptation. So this critically acclaimed 1984 film starring John Hurt and Richard Burton, released in the year itself, 1984. Then another one is 2005 operatic adaptation. So this particular opera was composed by Lorin Maazel, and which was premiered in a very famous Royal Opera House. Then next one is 2000. 2012 comic adaptation, which was a manga adaptation released in Japan, which was part of 8th press manga de Dokuha series. And then 2024 audible adaptation, which is an audiobook featuring Andrew Garfield as Winston Smith, and was released by Audible. And the recent in graphical novel adaptation In 2021, several graphics novel adaptations were published, including this work by Fido Nesti and Xavier Poste. So conclusion. So at the end, we can say enduring relevance. So the novel themes remain pertinent in contemporary discussions on surveillance and personal freedom. So the novel addresses issues such as the pervasive surveillance and the erosion of individual liberties. So in today's digital era, these concerns are more relevant than ever, promoting reflection on how much privacy we are willing to sacrifice for security. Then cautionary tale. So Orwell's narrative warns of the perils associated with totalitarianism and the concentration of power. So by depicting a society stripped of personal freedoms, the novel encourages vigilance against very similar threats in our own world. Then impact on language. So the terms like Big Brother, double think, and newspeak have entered in common usage, reflecting the novel's cultural significance. And then exploration of truth and reality. So the narrative challenges readers to consider the manipulation of facts and the nature of objective truth. So Orwell dwells into how authorities can distort facts, leading individuals to question the very nature of reality. Then literary significance. So 1984 is celebrated for its profound societal commentary and continues to influence literature and political thoughts. So in a summary, we can say George Orwell's 1984 continues to serve as a very powerful reflection on society, governance, and human condition, urging readers to remain aware of the forces that shape their realities. Okay, here are the references. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Good. So, yes, I'm audible. Okay, so it was quite a lengthy but a very detailed presentation. Most of the key points of the novel are covered. A detailed summary was also given of the plot overview. Thematic concern also was discussed, and the relevance of the novel in the era of AI also was connected in some of the slides. Okay, so I end the live stream and we continue with our class.